Hello everyone. I would like to welcome you to my first session. We will start first session with NFHS 5 data, which has just come out recently. This is to understand the problem of undernutrition in India. Okay, so let's understand what data shows us. This is NFHS 5 data, National Family Health Survey. Okay, and basically here in the first slide what you're seeing is the age-wise distribution of nutrition indicators. Okay, so age-wise, in a sense that what we have done, whatever data that NFHS 5 had, we have kind of distributed among the different age groups. Okay, so here in you have months, 0 to 2 months, 3 months, 4 to 5 months of baby, 6 months. Okay, and here you have a percentage on a y-axis. So here we have taken three indicators. For example, blue is your wasting, your yellow line, yellow bar is your underweight, and red one is your stunting. Okay, so we want to kind of show that what NFHS 5 showed is basically between 0 to 2 months of age, you have almost 30% children who are wasted. Okay, almost 30%. 30% children are underweight, and about say 28% are stunted. That means right at birth and then in first 2 months almost your 1/3 children are not doing well. Okay, 1/3 children, that's a huge lot of number. Now when you know that in first 2 months what matters, mother's nutrition during pregnancy and your breastfeeding. Okay, that means our mothers are not getting enough nutritious rich food, so babies are of course grown low birth weight, and also even if they are probably growing well, but because probably the latching and the milk transfer is not good from mothers to babies. Okay, and that's why you need to have a good amount of catch up growth and maximum occurs in first 2-3 months of age, and that's not occurring. Okay, so not only there is a tremendous amount of growth faltering occurring in first couple of months, but also growth catch up is not occurring. Okay, so this is very important to understand that first 0 to 2 months of age, a lot of these babies are not doing well. Looking at 3-month age data, again if you look at your wasting from say around 29% has gone down to maybe 26%, not much decrease in wasting. Okay, and your underweight pretty much stays same. Okay, there is little bit of stunting decreasing, which is good, but then let's go back to again 4 to 5 months of age and then look at again the wasting has not decreased much, underweight has not decreased much, and stunting stays as it is. Okay, and that's the same trend that you see in 6 months of age babies also. So what we are seeing is that in first 6 months of age, where there should be tremendous amount of growth catch up occurring, there should be almost zero growth faltering should be occurring, but probably we are getting a lot of growth faltering and very poor growth catch up. Okay, now this again up to 6 months is all breastfeeding. Okay, nothing else. So of course milk transfer is a problem. Many mothers are giving cows milk and babies are getting diarrheas. Okay, so we have to also consider that. Starting from 7 to 12 months of age, now this age group, this is where there is introduction of complementary feeding, and mother is learning how to introduce complementary feeding and how to increase dietary diversity and how to increase the frequency and the quantity. Okay, so if you look at it, there is little bit of improvement in wasting, but look at the underweight and stunting going up. Okay, this means that babies who are already malnourished in first 6 months, they are becoming much more malnourished because there is no proper support of complementary feeding in this age group. Okay, so now you can see how all your underweight as well as your stunting going up. Okay, very crucial stage. We have seen many babies who grow beautifully on mother's milk till 6 months of age, but if mother is not supported on how to give complementary food, they become thin. They lose a lot of weight and they become thin. Okay. And then let's go to 1 to 2 years of age. Now in 1 to 2 years of age, what you see is basically, now look at the stunting. Literally from 0 to 2 months you had about 28%. Now it's almost reaching to 40%. Okay, that's significantly high number of stunting at between 1 to 2 years of age. This means that completely the failure of first year of life when it comes to IYCF. Okay, IYCF is your maternal, infant, young child nutrition. So not only maternal nutrition has gone wrong, but also your breastfeeding has gone wrong, and also your complementary feeding rate has gone up. So it's basically ongoing chronic condition, and that's when you see remarkable increase in stunting. As a baby is getting stunted, obviously baby's bones are small, so now you have underweight also. Short babies always kind of weigh underweight unless child puts on a lot of fat. Okay, so this is important that there is significant reduction, or I would say significant increase in stunting and underweight. Okay, as stunting increases, you can see wasting decreases. Okay, now this in my opinion is that as babies becoming shorter and shorter, your wasting is getting masked. Okay, because that shorter baby does not need to have that much weight, okay, to not come under wasting graph. Okay, so that's why this is paradox. As the stunting goes up, your wasting comes down, but this is masking of wasting. Okay, then comes your 2 to 3 years of age. In 2 to 3 years of age, you can again see not much decrease in stunting. Look at the underweight going up. It has gone up now from 31% to almost 34%. Okay, and again not much decrease in wasting. Similarly, in this graph you can see that from 3 to 6 years of age, actually 5 years of age, 3 to 5 years of age, you can see pretty much the same graph. Again, stunting and underweight pretty high, and then your wasting is kind of lingering around 16 to 17%. Okay, so this age-wise change in your underweight, wasting and stunting is very important to understand, because once you understand the data, you will understand the root cause, and then you will be able to give the good solution. Okay, so I'm going to come to another bar graph. This is undernutrition in India according to residents in a sense, urban or rural area. Okay, so here if you look at stunting data, obviously stunting in your rural area is much higher than your urban area. Okay, pretty much same thing for underweight also. Wasting not much difference. So wasting, your urban or rural has equal number of wasted children. Underweight and stunting, yes, because of course as child is stunted, child is going to be underweight because bones are small. Okay, this is as per gender. So as per gender, you can see that males are little bit higher when it comes to stunting and underweight. Wasting is not much difference, but little bit of just minor difference. But again, males are at disadvantage. Normally what you would see that in India especially, you will see girl children being more underweight, and of course wasted and stunted. But its nature is protecting this girl child, because eventually she is going to bear a baby, so she is protected. Not that I'm saying too much of protection, but it's probably nature's way of protecting a girl child. Okay, we need to work on all these indicators, understand the root cause, understand the issue, and then we can definitely kind of understand the solution, and we'll come with excellent results. Now this is another very good pie chart. Again, undernutrition prevalence among children below 5 years of age. Okay, so say out of 100%, About 47.8% are absolutely normal when it comes to wasting, stunting, and underweight. Okay, so that's pretty low number actually. You want almost 96% children to be in this category, all normal, but you have only 47.8%, which is almost half. Okay, here what we have done is basically we have taken data of babies, children under 5 years of age who are only stunted. Okay, only stunted, no underweight and no wasting also. So you have about 15% children who are only stunted. Only wasted children who are only thin. Wasting is thin, child is thin, right? So only wasted children are about 6.5%. Okay, only underweight children are 2.3, so that's a very low number. Okay, generally underweight is usually associated with either wasting or stunting. Okay, very rare to have underweight, and these other children probably might have just had one or the two acute infection, and suddenly weight has gone down, but not gone down as much that it shows up on wasting graph. Okay. There is 0% babies who are only stunted and wasted. Okay, so 0% in that. And when it comes to stunting and underweight, the reason you have only 0% stunting and wasting, because stunting and wasting is always associated with underweight. Okay, so you want to remember that whenever you have a stunted child and wasted child has to be underweight. Okay, and that's why it's showing 0%, not if you don't include underweight. Okay, when you have a stunted child and underweight child, about 15% children are stunted and underweight. Okay, now these children probably the SAM is masked because child is short, and as child is short, child is also underweight. Okay, that significant number, 15.5% children are stunted and underweight. Okay, now you have underweight and wasted. So you have about 7.5% children who are underweight as well as wasted. Okay, so these are the children, probably child is doing metabolically really well, means child has stunting, child doesn't have stunting, but probably had some infection, lost some weight, acute weight, has become wasted, and because child has lost weight, so has become underweight also. So about 7.5% children are wasted and underweight. Okay, and if you look at all the three indicators, which include your stunting, wasting, underweight, you have about 5.2% children who have all three indicators, and these are the children who are at very high risk of a lot of complications. Okay, because you have this chronically malnourished child who is stunted now is becoming wasted. Okay, so of course mortality also increases in this children, okay, who are stunted and you're wasted. Okay, so this is another very important graph which is important to understand. Okay, now let's talk about the prevalence of stunting. Okay, stunting means your children are short. Okay, so this is again you have the graph of India in front of you. This is Bihar, so you can see that in Bihar you have very high stunting rate. Almost you can look over here. This is your India stunting level, which is about 36%. 36% children are stunted in India. And if you look at last few states, you can see Meghalaya, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, Dadra, Nagar Haveli. These are some of the states which are kind of doing good. Even Gujarat, in fact, if you look at Gujarat, Gujarat is doing worse when it comes to stunting level. Okay, and here again, these are all the states that we have shown. Here is your Meghalaya, this is your Bihar, and these are data which is showing more than 40%. Okay, and then between 30 to 39%, it's all your red zone. So basically pretty much the whole of India has more than 30% stunting rate, which is significantly high. As I mentioned to you, we want only maybe 2 to 2.5% children who are who should be, or who may be less than -2 standard deviation, but instead of having 2.4 to 2.5% children being stunted, we have significantly, you can see the whole of India is pretty much 30% and above. Okay. Let's talk about underweight. Underweight is also average underweight in India is about 32%. But if you look at all the states, again pretty much the same states that I mentioned for stunting, which is your Bihar, Gujarat, Jharkhand, Dadra Nagar Haveli, Daman Diu, Maharashtra. Many states are not doing good compared to India. Of course, India by itself is not doing well. When you have 32% underweight, that's pretty significantly high actually. Okay, states which are doing reasonably well, I would say reasonably well compared to India standard, not necessarily for world standard. You have a couple of states, few states from northeast, your Mizoram, Sikkim, Manipur. Puducherry is doing pretty good compared to India. Okay, and also Arunachal Pradesh and Punjab. Here you can see again pretty much same states. You can see red, all the red areas are all underweight, about 30%. Okay. Not that we want 20 to 29% children underweight, but just comparison to India standard. Okay, now this is wasting. Wasting is acute malnutrition. So your SAM, MAM comes under wasting. Okay, you're thin, like as per height, what is the weight of the child? Okay, so again, if you look at it, average wasting in India, it's about 19%. So there are many states which are worse than India standard. Okay, and that you again see pretty much your Maharashtra, Gujarat, Bihar, Jharkhand, Assam, Telangana, Dadar, Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu. So these are all basically not doing well. Here is your again your red areas. Wasting is pretty significant. Now suppose if child is doing very well, if child is growing well in terms of height, and if suppose child for a couple of days or few days hasn't eaten because of some diarrhea, pneumonia, you definitely want to treat those infection, but they come out pretty fast. Okay, if their metabolism is very good, they come out of infection very fast. But what I saw in my program, the children who were stunted already, they were not growing well, they were chronically malnourished. When they got diarrhea, it got very difficult to bring that child out of wasting. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're just that longitudinal data is more important than the cross-sectional data in wasting. Okay, so cross-sectional means you just measure weight for height, even say once, and tell tell that, oh, this child is wasted. Generally, I prefer that we have a longitudinal checkup. So if child is growing well, height-wise child is growing well over a period of time. Sometime when they have again infection, they would get thin, they would lose weight, but again those children come out very fast when you treat the infections. Okay, so that's important. You can see some of the economically advanced states are quite red in color. So Maharashtra, Gujarat, some of those states are not, we did not expect this children to be wasted, but again, just looking at wasting data, I won't comment. We have to also look at stunting in the states, and stunting is also kind of high in both the states. So both the states are not doing well as when it comes to child nutrition. Okay. Now let's look at anemia. This is your urban area, rural area, total anemia. Any anemia, so you have different kinds of anemia. So any anemia, almost 65% children are anemic. Okay, total, of course higher in rural areas. And when you look at mild, moderate and severe anemia, again, you have basically almost 30% children who come into mild category. Moderate category, you have about about 35% children in rural areas and about 32% children in urban areas, and severe anemia, almost 2 to 3% children are severely anemic. Okay, and total any anemia means mild, moderate, severe. So if you calculate all three of them together, just randomly take any child who is anemic, that number is significantly high. Okay, and unfortunately what happens when you are diagnosed with anemia and say 9 months to 1 year of age, those babies already kind of have poor IQ, because once you diagnose, that means anemia has already kind of caused impact on their brain. Okay, because you need good amount of oxygen going to child's brain, because brain is growing very fast. So this one is really crucial that we prevent anemia. Okay, not, of course we have to treat this anemia children also, but again, mother's milk and complementary food which is high in iron, that counseling is very, very important for mothers. Okay, here you are looking at anemia among children in India according to gender. So if you look at gender, again, in young children up to 5 years of age, there is not much difference. Okay, this, of course, girl children are not menstruating, so they're not losing blood. So this is all basically diet related anemias. Okay, and here you can see both boy and a girl child, almost 65% children are anemic. Okay, not much difference gender wise. When you look at the graph of India, this is, again, you can see almost 60% children are anemic. Okay, so we want to make sure that we give again, nutrition counseling is very, very important. Almost look at the 65% children anemic. Ladakh is almost reaching 90 to 92%. So Ladakh, we need to kind of really intervene in Ladakh. Gujarat also, lot of the states, again, same, Dadra, Nagar Haveli, Daman, Diu, there's all states, that we can basically work on to improve anemia. Okay. This is status of key breastfeeding practices, NFHS 5. So if you look at what are your breastfeeding indicators, okay? Breastfeeding indicators is early initiation of breastfeeding and your exclusive breastfeeding rate, okay? So you look at early initiation of breastfeeding. Now we know that institution delivery has gone really high up, on more than 90% deliveries occur in institution, but look at the number of children who are given breast milk in the hospital within 1 hour. Okay, very poor, 40% only. Okay, in urban maybe around 40 to 43%, but rural areas is 40. The total comes out to 41-42%, not more than that. Okay, so here we can really improve this early initiation of breastfeeding. You will see in one of my session that why early initiation is so important, and what happens when you don't give breast milk within 1 hour. That colostrum is extremely important to develop good immunity, gut microbiome, okay, to prime that baby. It's like, when we take vaccine. So when you vaccinate the baby, you're basically priming that baby for infections in the future, right? Similarly, when you give breast milk, first thing, immediately as soon as baby is born, that colostrum has good bacteria of the mother. Colostrum has human milk oligosaccharide, and that's going to stimulate baby's immunity, and it's going to fight infections, not only immediately but lifelong. Okay, so very, very crucial that you work on this early initiation of breastfeeding. Another thing is ever breastfed child who receive pre-lactal feed, means babies who get, say, something other than breast milk. Okay, so a very significant number of children, they get pre-lactal feeds. You can see it, almost 20% children are getting pre-lactal feeds, which is something other than breast milk. Okay, What is the status of key breastfeeding practices? Again, if you look at the region wise, so all these areas, you can see all this red zone, only early initiation of breastfeeding is only between 12 to 40%, okay, which is significantly poor. You can see in India, only 40 to 42% of children are getting early initiation of breastfeeding. Many areas they have early initiation of breastfeeding. Your Meghalaya has good amount of early initiation of breastfeeding. Lakshadweep, Odisha, Kerala, right? Some of these areas like Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh, Daman Diu, Dadar, Nagar Haveli, Bihar, these are the areas that we saw they are not doing well when it comes to nutrition indicators, and they are not even getting breast milk in first half an hour or so, half an hour to 1 hour, okay. So you want to improve though in those states, you definitely want to improve your early initiation of breastfeeding. If you look at exclusive breastfeeding, look at the exclusive breastfeeding rate in India is about 60 to 63 to 64%, okay. Many mothers, around 75% of the mothers, they start exclusive breastfeeding. They start with exclusive breastfeeding, but there is a breastfeeding failure. So you can see the failure that as child is growing up, the exclusive breastfeeding rate going down. This mothers means they are not getting support from healthcare workers on how to breastfeed. So there is poor milk transfer. Weight gain is not happening, and then probably pediatricians are starting formulas. Many pediatricians, they do start formulas right away. We have to also understand that this is absolutely not needed. This is also for pediatrician to please kind of start breastfeeding, exclusive breastfeeding at birth as well as up till 6 months of age. Okay, and again, not much difference when it comes to urban rural. Rural exclusive breastfeeding rate is a little bit higher than urban area. Again, if you look at exclusive breastfeeding rate in India, many states which are giving exclusive breastfeeding rate, exclusive breastfeeding to babies, but they're not doing well when it comes to nutrition indicators. Okay, so your Chhattisgarh, Dadar, Nagar Haveli, Daman Diu, Jharkhand, MP, although they're giving good amount of exclusive breastfeeding rate, but your nutrition indicators are not good. That means milk transfer is not occurring. Okay, so in my opinion, only looking at exclusive breastfeeding rate is not enough. You have to look at early, effective, and exclusive. So I strongly believe in EEE, early, effective, and exclusive breastfeeding rate. Okay. Okay. Now, so other feeds, like what are the other feeds that children are getting, so many of this, so your blue is your plain water. So many babies, almost 4 to 5% babies are getting plain water, literally under 2 months of age. They're also getting non-milk liquid, so they're getting either honey, gutti, or any of those, okay, and other milk, which is probably a cow milk or formula. And your complementary food. So many babies are being given complementary feeding by less than 2 months of age. Okay, you don't want all this thing because there is a high risk of infection, and children will not grow well. Okay, and as you can see, as child is growing older, your plain water intake is increasing, complementary feeding rate is also increasing, your other milk intake is also increasing. Okay, so this particular graph is very, very important. Okay, status of complementary feeding 6 to 8 months as per resident. So again, around 52% children in urban areas are getting complementary feeding by 6 to 8 months of age, and rural areas is much less. Okay. This is about complementary feeding at 6 to 8 months. Again, a lot of the states in red zone are not getting complementary feeding by 6 to 8 months of age. So the states need to improve remarkably. Again, your UP, Rajasthan, Jharkhand, Bihar, this states, states in the middle are not doing very well. Okay. This is minimum acceptable diet. So minimum acceptable diet is your dietary diversity, your frequency, and your both together is your minimum adequate diet. So again, in India, breastfed babies and even non-breastfed babies, only 10 to 11% babies are getting minimum adequate diet. That means enough frequency and enough dietary diversity. Okay, can you imagine only 10% to 12% babies are getting proper complementary food under 2 years of age? If these children don't get proper complementary food, believe me, they're going to become wasted, they're going to become underweight, stunted. Okay, so this is important. Again, this is age-wise category of your minimum adequate diet. MAD, I'll focus on MAD, which is a minimum adequate diet, which includes your frequency as well as your dietary diversity. Okay, so very, very poor uptake of complementary feeding up to 2 years of age. As you can see, age-wise, it's pretty poor. Okay. Thank you so much. As now we understood NFHS 5 data very well, let's see what in next session I'm going to talk about what exactly we did in urban slums and other areas of India to improve these indicators in a small, of course, small program, but in those small programs we learned a lot of loopholes and how to kind of come up with solutions to manage this malnutrition among those underprivileged children. Okay, thank you.